Shalom. All Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. I believe this lesson will be entitled Farm to Famine, which is a play on the phrase they have in the world called farm to table. Basically, the food fresh from the farm to the restaurant, but this, coming, hey, there's not going to be any food. So in this article from the Telegraph, which is just from, earlier in April, this is farmers warn of first year without harvest since Second World War. So this is the first year that farmers don't have anything to bring to the market. It says unprecedented flooding and wettest 18 months on record mean crop yields will be significantly down with risk of food shortages. So, significantly down. They're yielding less and less from the crops. Farmers are warning of food shortages as record rainfall threatens to bring the first season without a harvest on some farms since the end of the Second World War. Vast swaths of farmland are still underwater following an unprecedented period of flooding, with 11 named storms since September and the wettest 18 months on record. So, this is in the UK, but these storms and different things are happening all over the world. Although it's not just the UK that's experiencing this, unusual weather. It's all over the world. Here in the US over the weekend, you had over 80 different tornadoes across the Midwest. You had hailstorms, flooding going on. But continuing on, the agriculture, they're saying that wheat yields will be down 15%, barley would be down 22%. The oilseed rape down 28%. So expect wheat and barley prices to go up. It reminds me of oh man, I can get that. Let me see here. I'm going to get this in the NLT. This is Revelation chapter 6 and verse 5. In the NLT, it says, when the Lamb broke the third seal, I heard the third living being say, come. I looked up and I saw a black horse, and its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand, and this is Famine. And I heard a voice from among the four living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay, and don't waste the olive oil and the wine. So, this is hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is coming. We're experiencing, inflation right now. It's okay. You can still buy stuff, whatever. But this is coming. Where things are going to cost you a day's pay. You might have to end up going without food. And the olive oil and the wine, that goes into the knowledge of this truth. But back to this article. The Agriculture and Horticulture Development Board has predicted that wheat yields will be down 15%. So if their yields are down, they still have to make up for the loss. So in order to make up for that loss, the prices have to go up, right? So you're getting smaller and smaller amounts. They had that thing called a shrinkflation. The packages of these things were getting smaller. The prices were either staying the same or going up, but you're getting less. Going to this quote by this guy Joe Stanley. Unless it basically stops raining today, and then it becomes nice and sunny and windy, we're not going to get any crops in this year. That's a real danger, he said. Many farmers will be in the same situation. So it's not just him. It's a lot of farmers. You see this picture here, the different fields being flooded out, and it's not gonna. The weather isn't gonna turn in your favor. Farmers are also facing the prospect that crops planted during the autumn will not have survived the flooding brought by repeated storms, the National Farmers Union said. It warned that households could feel the effects of low crop yields and reduced lamb numbers, because many lambs have not survived the unseasonably cold temperatures and heavy rainfall. So even the livestock is suffering. If you hear over here, if you heard the news over here, they're still culling most of the livestock. Like they just got rid of like millions of eggs, I think, few weeks back because they thought they were contaminated with avian flu. Different farms and refineries are still burning down, and no telling what those tornadoes damage too. So they're doing a lot of culling all over the place, and a lot of livestock isn't making it. So you're seeing this is this is just a snapshot of one area, but this is worldwide. It's no exaggeration to say a crisis is building, says Rachel Hallows of the NFU vice president. While farmers are bearing the brunt of it now, consumers may well see the effects through the year as produce simply doesn't leave the farm gate. So, the consumers, the people, they're gonna start seeing this. Seeing the shelves empty. Matter of fact, this reminds me of another. I already had it pulled up since I read it right there. This is 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So, these farms, the place where they sow these seeds, they're not yielding anything. That translates to the stores, the storehouses, the grocery stores. The grocery store is going to be empty. Back to the article. I'm going to jump down. Mr. Stanley said farms were facing an existential moment because of the changing climate, which could put many out of business, reducing UK food security. So this is existential, meaning this is reality. Reality, but these are the prophecies that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said would happen. He said there would be famines. Said he would visit. This is what's going to happen when he begins to visit the world. Here, let me get this. This is Matthew 24. This is Matthew 24, and I'm going to jump straight to the point. Because his disciple, Yahushai's disciples, asked him, the signs of his coming. And I'm going to jump straight to verse 7. Matthew 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. So you're seeing nations rising up against each other. For instance, Iran and Israel. Here the civil war brewing. The different kingdoms getting ready to rise up against each other. World War III brewing up. There's famines. This article is about famines. This is a worldwide thing happening. Pestilences happening here. You have those lantern flies are looking to start emerging pretty soon. Different diseases. STDs, STIs, whatever you want to call them. What else? Oh, that avian flu. A lot of things. But these are all signs of when Yahushua is coming to visit the earth. Now, this is Second Ezra chapter 15, and I'm going to jump straight to the point. Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 13 in the GNT says, the farmers will mourn because their seed will fail to sprout, and their trees will be destroyed by blight, hail, and terrible storms. So this article going into the terrible storms, is flooding. You have mostly with the flooding, the weather. They said it was freezing temperatures, killing off their livestock as well as the crops. The blight being, different diseases like with like I mentioned, avian flu. You have the lantern flies that come and destroy the crops. I wouldn't be surprised if the locusts appear. Different plant diseases. They're having to use different chemicals and whatnot to try to save the crops, but all the crops are failing. And hail. You've seen different videos of hailstorms. Like I saw some videos from China from over the weekend. Those are some big, like orange size, like grapefruit size hail, and those will destroy crops. Those will destroy everything. But these are all things that are happening. That's prophesied about. This is Second Ezra chapter. Let me get chapter 16, and I'm gonna start at verse 21. And this is also in the GNT. The time is coming when food will be so cheap that people will think a time of peace and plenty has arrived. So we're in a time right now where people are still, there's a few people complaining about the prices going up, but you can still buy stuff. Stuff is still, items are still cheap enough to be affordable. But when disasters will spring up everywhere, wars, famine, and great confusion. So, but then disasters will spring up everywhere, wars, famine, and great confusion. So these things are popping up everywhere. You have different uprisings of the people, different protests going on, especially around here in the U.S. Different wars, rumors of wars happening. World War III, like I mentioned, is on the the nuclear talks. Threatening the nuclear threats, and the famine. Obviously, this what this article, this lesson was going into, in great confusion. Many people on earth will starve to death, and those who escape starvation will be killed in war. So a lot of people are going to die in this famine coming. So they don't have the protection of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai with them. But this is back to 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And I'm going to start at 14. The world and the people in it are doomed. These people are doomed here. Because it's not just, hey, if they escape the famine, they escape war, all this stuff. Hey, well, you still have the ICBMs coming. You still have Yahushua and the angels with the chariots and the lasers coming. This place is set for destruction. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. World War III. There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. Hey, that's a civil war. And that's here. They just had that movie Civil War come out earlier. It's a pretty good movie. You know, there will no longer be free access to cities because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. So there's no longer going to be free access to cities. You don't know if infrastructure might be cut off, but this also affects the food supply because of infrastructure. The roads get cut off. All this stuff. There's the wars, the confusion, the civil war. You can't just bring food places. You can't you're not. Farmers aren't going to be worried about taking care of crops. The resources might get diverted somewhere else. The farmers might get displaced. The resources. Yeah, I just said that. The soil might get contaminated. The water might get contaminated in some places. Not only that. Like all these things, the uncertainty of all these things is going to drive food through the prices through the roof. But there's not going to be like you could just go now where you can just drive to whatever city, whatever town you want to, no problem. A bridge might go out, the road might be out, a sinkhole might open up in the road. No telling. It might even be, gated off or whatever, off limits. You got to have a grain of rice to enter. No telling what's. Verse 19, driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. So you're going to see a lot of chaos, a lot of things. Your neighbors who you thought you were buddies with or whatever, hey, there's going to be a whole different person. Driven by famine and terrible suffering. People are going to assault their neighbors. They're going to, they be killing people, taking their stuff. Probably already eyeing your bunker that you're building. Seeing that you got guns, this, that. Seeing that you taking extra trips from the grocery store, bringing in more and more stuff. You got a stockpile. You're hoarding goods. All this. That was in that movie, Leave the World Behind. But let me see. Let me close out with this one. This is Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 12. Therefore I will number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer, When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. And this is all the Israelites that the whole rest of the world, but mainly this is dealing with the Israelites that ignored this calling, the 2/3. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirits. So, hey, the Lord's servants, the Lord's elect, they're going to be taken care of. Lord willing, I'm on my number of that number. But hey, the Lord's elect are going to be taken care of, whether they have to be martyrs or whatever, because you're gonna come back in the kingdom, and the Lord is not unrighteous to forget your works. But hey, the Lord's servants are going to be taken care of. The rest of the world is going to have to suffer. It doesn't mean we're not going to have to go through this suffering with the world, but the difference is that we're going to be saved out of this. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Shalom.